off, I was basically showing you, the audience, uh, Taiwan student protests. They took their Capitol building. Cool. Yeah.
我们必须把它找出来，我们不会允许任何人把这我们要把这事封起来。所以
With them. Yeah, look at that. It's a sit-in. Classic sit-in. Classic sit-in from status quo. So they seem to have already grabbed some riot shields. Others, I guess. Trying to reinforce. That's amazing. You have one person with their hands up. Like, what do you think? I thought this was actually a stalemate until now. Now these guys are wannabe cops, so you kind of have two equal forces to some extent. Now, of course, how they're gonna actually like exchange front row. Yeah, we got the doors open. Actually push them back. Gotta have a dick flag. And then he unloads a can of mace. Oh, it's mace fight. And he just sprays the whole thing. And there's just more of them. Never doubt that a dedicated mass of people I want to do shit. I'm out. I'm out, dude. I'm in the middle of this. I'm out. Sometimes we all feel like that, but you know, sometimes inertia is just go pushing forward. Yeah, people don't through anymore, and they're trying to go back. Never do that. Oh. There. Oh. Everybody gets maced. I thankfully have not been maced in my life. I do not intend to be maced in the future, but I believe I've got this that I can wear. I can see right wingers get a baton to the head. But my overall tone is impressed. This is something that, like, push through police line. This was, I mean, it's just important. This is also why, like, what doesn't the left do this more? Well, since Wisconsin occupation back in 2011, there has not really been, you know, fresh. This is not a tactic we use because we know that overwhelming. It won't be a good look, as this is not good. We do, in fact, count optics most of the time, because when we destroy property, we want to make sure it's corporate property or some other nefarious entity particularly likes, except maybe neoliberals. In this case, it's the Capitol, and everyone loves it. I'm assuming they didn't break it. Look at that. See, they got the full. They got the full. It's like a super soaker, can go farther. You just gotta have a better tool. The mace fight, the person with a bigger mace. They have some riot shields too. I don't know how they got those. Maybe there were some riot cops outside. Obviously, Metropolitan Police were not mobilized during Trump's inauguration, because this is apparently just the Capitol Police. Okay, looks like the first yeah. Where do we still get in? footage of the rally itself, and then it'll be like, you know, things on the ground that you see. But here's the inauguration I will be featured in. This was shot by a friend. This was the inauguration. Oh no, this is 2018, right? Yeah, this is the last thing he shot, because this was when we're going to have a second rally. This was the anniversary after Charlottesville, and this is where the left outnumbered them 10-1, and so they basically did their own rally, or their own march through DC. You see, they were a lot more cops when we march, because they know. Okay, actually, so it's not. Now he got the good footage of Charlottesville, and this actually, like, once he got featured on CNN, he's like, "That's it. As a Gonzo journalist, I can't really go any higher, so I'm done with this." And he basically stopped going to protests and stuff. Oh yeah, this is longer than I thought. I'll skip around. This is particularly footage of the block that he shot. I was not in it. I was following as you were here. This march. We were about 10 minutes late, and then we caught up, because it was basically just around the neighborhood. Remember, let's move ahead. Yeah. This video was particular. Notice the sonic warfare. Non-militant rally that was occurring in a park nearby, and then you had the Black Bloc doing their thing. So, and in the middle, you had Jill Stein kind of just, you know, talking to people. And so I kind of saw her as kind of like this nice middle between the riot and the kind of performative rally, where you have speakers, activists talking to a crowd of people, but as far as like agitating against Trump and the inauguration, not really doing it. It was kind of like the safe zone, though. So if you needed a breath after this, I went there to kind of center myself. And let's go ahead. Yeah, so these are the kind of checkpoints that I had set up.
Hurry up!
Yeah. So that was my friend, and so my other associate and me are kind of running the catch out of the Black Bloc. They're moving faster than we are to stay wide of the Black Bloc, because the police are going to do their damn kettle them. Yeah, and he didn't know he was kettled. So yeah, warn him, but good footage, as you see. There'll be a choice soundbite coming up as we make him slow the fuck down. It says, I found it interesting that they NPR are not calling the Capitol under siege, despite the right winger hostages or barricading them. They didn't seem to be. I don't know if they did. I'm not going to pick that out. But I'm interested in fighting. It was a battle between them and the cops for control of the building, as they just kind of went from kind of like this, in fact, just going bearing became content control. And you know. Hi, Max John. This is a leftist who wants all kinds of politics, particularly activism and whatnot. I do community radio, and this is kind of my first week straight after a day of skiing, which is completely, don't need to know that. I just wanted to talk about the events at the Capitol, but instead of doing that, since information is likely scarce, I'm relating it to other things that have been done that are like it. So I'm almost for nostalgia's sake, which of the Black Bloc at the inauguration of Trump 4 years ago, and how it's kind of flipped, where you had all the resistance, right? Remember the resistance? They're saying how this, all this us fingers make them look bad. This is going to hurt the fight for Trump. Now, obviously, beaten, right? He's the leader of this clandestine movement, making many Republicans afraid of primary challenges. And I think a difference between progressives is they have no the militant right and those that were primary Republicans are the same group. So when progressives talk of pressuring Democrats, it's always toothless, right? Because the Black Bloc, socialists, actual lefties, we're not really interested in pressuring Democrats. I mean, sometimes we are. We're selective. Interesting. We want to do our own thing.
News World, Washington, January 20th, inauguration of President Donald Trump.
It's so dramatic. Okay, do you hear that? That's me doing the drumsticks. So we're close, but we don't want to be too close.
Well, you're on. Just listen to me.
Where are you going for? Oh, there's me. Hey, Grace is afraid again. Here's my back.
I'm not chasing you all day. And I'm not talking about safety. I'm talking about my knees, motherfucker. Fuck your knees. Oh, yeah, you're gonna take one of my
Yeah, that's where it became clear, like, this is why we stay wide. They're going ahead. Let's move ahead to where that happens. It's not here. It is here. So the police have cordoned off this intersection, and they basically trap between two intersections. We're following block. And they're kind of on the side, they're on like some steps, they're a few feet up. It's also a perfect place to be trapped by the police. point out here, the other thing the right wingers like to have is they do not have people supporting those green caps. They're with the Lawyers Guild. These are volunteer lawyers who are seen to base what people's rights are. Very well studied in it, and they're also there to say what you do with police, and also to make sure you got people's information arrested. They have a catalog of all of that, and then that helps with the bail support and all that. So they're saying they want to leave, they have a right to move. Law and Order doesn't care.
I'm kind of in pain because of temper pregnancy anywhere. It was lovely.
So it's cool you're recommended next one. This is not my usual format, so I'm still figuring out what my format is.
And it doesn't look because I'm stuck in between, so we'll see what happens.
There it goes. Three didn't make it out, and then you have a group of journalists, and then they're completely cut off, meaning they're not allowed to exit, basically under detainment, and they're there for hours before they are actually. So he's stuck there the whole time, and they're stuck there even after nightfall. After much arguing with the police. You get some more footage from afar because the Black Bloc riots. They burned the limo nearby for the whole thing. Fun story. You may be aware of the, as everyone knows, the clip of this was mere blocks away, or almost 2 blocks away, when Richard Spencer was punched by one of those brave Antifa super soldiers. As they were exiting the area, that hero was being chased by this other guy, and I had been moving in that direction. And I saw one black blocker being chased by a single guy. I'm like, this is odd. And so and he's like, oh god, and he's like super pro. He was wearing a brown shirt, obviously not a blocker. And I get in his way. Let go, whatever it was. I don't know what the hell happened. And he goes, man, that guy just punched Richard. I have to think for a moment about who that hell that is, because I'm having, with all the energy around me. And I go wait, that sounds like a good thing. And thanks to me, the blocker escapes. Not that he was in too much danger. He probably would have outrun him eventually. But yes. Okay, so I'm not going to go too much longer. I kind of said what I need to say. I could rant about in local activism, especially in democratic cities, when in terms of occupying state buildings. Usually what happens with BLM, we disrupt meetings, public meetings, for the amount of time they're going on. It would have gone for 3 hours. We disrupt and occupy the meeting for a few hours. And because it's city government or town government, it's not like the big SWAT team is going to be pulled in to drag people out, because there's an expectation that eventually activists will leave, that there's still this level of decorum, even when people are really mad and they want action. But there's still a line of breaking stuff or the violence of saying, no, I'm not leaving, we're occupying. But of course, that line is that of planning. To effectively occupy a space, there needs to be a plan of logistics, a plan of holding it, also a plan of getting stuff in to say, to at least last a few days. In Wisconsin, I think there was a free flow of people in and out, and it was just that the protest was continuous over a few weeks. Eventually, it was swept out with force, as all occupations in the Occupy movement were eventually. But even with the park, there was the working groups, there was a whole structure and infrastructure built around supplying encampments. And homeless encampments don't have such planning, or maybe some do, and they have eventual governance structures. They could be towns within towns. But I'm getting sidetracked. But similar like this, like I wonder how long the right wingers, when they're in the Capitol, and they don't really. It was so serendipitous of them doing this that really they eventually would have no choice but to leave the building. Maybe they could have stayed, maybe raid the snack fridge for a bit, but eventually military force would be used to sweep them out, as likely happened. And they seem to have been fighting the cops, the Capitol Police, the whole way through. But those stark pictures of them, I guess, running around with their flags, and journalists on the inside get pictures of them. So public embarrassment, I guess, except as I showed you in Taiwan, this actually happens all the time. It's other parliaments in the world are circuses. They lack decorum in the civilization that we American democracy has. But I find it hilarious. I'm a little bit jokerified in the coverage of, like, it's embarrassment. The legislators are terrified. Oh yeah, this journalist that NPR was interviewing was like, she was both saying that she was terrified and scared, but also repeating that she was comfortable because she was stuck in their main offices, which they work in all day, assumedly. So it's like, what's the problem? Or the dichotomy of that. And then you have like other senators and stuff stuck in closets or hiding out in the little bunkers or something like that, safe rooms of sorts. Because, when it comes to legislative buildings, they are mazes of offices. And so, like, kind of controlling all of it is a real challenge. You really have to know your layout. But barricading yourself in kind of the main room probably be, if it was me, or a leftist group, main strategy. But as you saw, just got a hint of it that there were thousands there, and it would take thousands to do something like this. So if otherwise, I'm impressed. I'm impressed that they actually kind of followed through, because usually the right are pretty passive as far as actually fighting authorities, because they respect the cops, back the blue, right? That Biden is president, the at least state and national police are Democrat controlled police. Before it was their police, now they're not so sure. And it's going to be interesting to see what the results of when they face state repression, what comes out of that. I know the thought about jokerization, where it's like, you just want to see things burn. You love this cake, the chaos. But eventually, even that gets tiring. You actually want to believe and work on something that has importance, that goes beyond yourself. Nihilism has a very short shelf life. For those that really stick with nihilism of the Joker, whatever, they usually just get strung out and overdose on drugs. To just speak generally, not to make some kind of stereotype, but it gets tiring, and it doesn't lead to anywhere. Dead end of sorts. And of course, the next step after jokerization, as Trap House might put it, is radicalization. That you can be part of something bigger. That you can do this with 1,000 people. You too can breach the Capitol building. that the 10 riot cops are no match. You just need your own mace or shield